Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our product webinar hosted by hireEZ. My name is Dan Harton, and I'll be your host for today. I lead the customer marketing team here at hireEZ, and we have such an exciting agenda covering key product features from our amazing product leaders here at hireEZ. We have Krista, Beji, Sanjay, and Lisa that are part of the product team that really are going to go into specific product details and product updates from our whole product suite. So excited to jump in. How the product or the webinar is going to go is we're going to go through around 6 different sections within our product. And after each section, throw your questions in the chat. And what I'll do is I will observe that chat. And after each section that is explained, there will be a question and answer follow-up. If we don't get to all of those specific questions on that specific segment, we can do at the end, we'll have kind of a round table where all the presenters will come on screen, and then you can ask those specifically. I'll write those down, the ones that we haven't gotten to, but I really want this engaging. I really want you to put yourself in a position of a recruiter, recruiting leader, different use cases of what this could do to help elevate your team for years to come. So before we start, maybe we go around, introduce your name, what your role here is here at hireEZ is, and then we can start off with Krista after that.
Sure, I can kick us off for intros if that works. So Krista Pearl, I'm the group product manager here at hireEZ. I've been here for about 2 years and oversee the product team and also the portfolio of products. Some of those we won't be sharing today, but we will highlight some of our key feature areas that we want to step through. So I have 2 product managers from my team joining us, Beji and Lisa. So I'm excited to have them walk through our features for us. Sanjay, do you want to go next? And then we'll move over to product.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sanjay Sen. I'm the Director of Design at hireEZ. So I look after anything and everything our users touches in the product, website, everything. So I work very closely with Krista and work on hireEZ products. I'm super excited to be here and connecting with all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanjay. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Beji. I'm also on the product team. I joined hireEZ 5 years ago as a recruiter. After doing recruiting for about 2 years, I moved to the product team and now working on sourcing related functions. So yeah, really excited to be here today to share with you some of the latest updates. Thank you.
So hello everyone, I'm Lisa and I'm one of the product manager here in hireEZ, and I have been with hireEZ for 2.5 years, and I'm taking care of all the integration and the CRM extension. I'm very excited to introduce some key features of our CRM extension today. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing. The cool thing about this webinar is we have former recruiters on the call. A little bit of background of me. I used to build teams at AWS at scale, was on the executive search team at Meta. I've been a recruiter all of my life and recently pivoted to the customer marketing team to help you guys as recruiters, as recruiting leaders, because I believe in the product and I believe in the mission and the things that we're rolling out to the world. So I'm excited to dive in deep on the different sections of our product. And again, if you want more follow-up, you want more specific granular demos, what I'll do is I'll throw a link in the chat as well. It will be on our YouTube page following this session within the next day. So feel free to use that link to book some time with us as well. But the first section that we want to go over is Krista. Krista, why don't you talk through talent pools and what our product has to offer, and then also the other presenters. Why don't we just go off screen currently right now until your section is up. So Krista, take it away.
Sure, thank you. So we tried to set up the features in a flow that makes sense. There might be a little bit of some story patching that we'll need to do to take you from one feature to the next feature. But what we wanted to start you off with was the CRM experience. So starting with talent pools. I will note here that the history of hireEZ and really our bread and butter and our backbone as a company and a platform has been sourcing. So our entire history, we have really excelled at sourcing, which is shown in this tab here. Happy to touch on that, especially if you have some deeper questions around it. We can schedule a follow-up call and go into a little bit more detail. But for today, I really want to focus on talent pools. So what we did here was pivot from the sourcing history, which is really outbound candidates, going into a really, really rich, dense index data set that we pulled from a lot of different data sources, including LinkedIn, but a lot of other realms as well. And what we did with talent pools is that we pulled in both the ATS candidates that every single customer has from their integration with their ATS and that history of our sourcing candidates. So the thing that differentiates the hireEZ talent pools from other platform talent pools is that we offer both. Once a customer is integrated with their ATS, we can really intelligently pull in those candidates that are either associated with a project, a specific open rec, or candidates that are just sitting in the talent pool, or I'm sorry, the ATS, and it may not be fully utilized today. On top of that, once the user defines the talent pool, we also layer in all of our data sets that we've had. So in this way, a user can build a very, very robust talent pool in order to segment a really broad group of candidates to interact with. So up here at the top, we have a graph that shows a lot of different representations. And of course, what the objective here is a little bit of insight into these different angles of the candidates that they've defined talent pools around. So the top objective here and the top use case for this graph is probably their ATS candidates, a user or leader trying to get a snapshot view into the top roles that they have in their ATS, the top locations of those candidates, the skills, both hard and soft. What they can also do, though, is start to break down the same snapshots across the entire candidate set and gain some insight that they may not have in their current ATS. So if there are any gaps or any missing understandings or areas that they should bring in more candidates into the sort of roles that they hire a lot, we're able to highlight those here. We also introduced a concept that we call temperature. It's lifted from a sales pipeline model. So in the same sense, for anyone who's familiar with the sales pipeline, that there's a concept of a cold lead, which would be a cold call, and a hot lead, which is a prospect that has indicated a lot of interest. It's the exact same model here. So a hot candidate in this case is one that's expressed a lot of interest in this recruiter or this company specifically. So in that sense, it's a lot more granular and focused than just availability, which is more of a general level of interest. Hot, warm, cold is this candidate's interactions with this recruiter or this company. So we, out of the box, define a rule set for how we define hot, warm, and cold. It's largely based around interaction. So if they open an email, click an email, apply to a job, interview, as well as timestamp considerations for each of those. So for example, if they open an email or click an email 10 times in the last week, that's weighted differently than if they applied to a job 2 years ago, with the former, of course, indicating more of a hot interest than one that may have happened 2 years ago or longer. That's what we define these as out of the box. An admin user can also come in and change these rules. So if they feel that some of those different rules or conditions should be a little bit different for their specific candidate set or their industry, they're able to change some of those factors and variables and adjust how they're shown here. Out of the box, we do also offer 3 auto-generated talent pools. So silver medalist, open to opportunities, and contacts later. The silver medalist rule base that we offer are those candidates that move through the interview process and don't get an offer, or get an offer and decline it. And that's just our default definition that we pull from the ATS stages for those customers that have their integration with ATS. A customer can, of course, also define their own talent pool around silver medalist, or if they have a tag called silver medalist or anything related, they can create a talent pool that reflects the same thing. And then that would be a user created talent pool. Open to opportunities is what it sounds like. So very similar to the concept of availability. And then contact later is generated from those those candidates that have replied to the concept of a poll. So we have a poll feature that can be added into email campaigns. And if the candidate selects the default response that says contact me later, then they will be automatically added to this talent pool for follow-up in the next 3 months or 6 months. Below that, the user does have some user-created talent pools. So these are any number of factors that a user or a team might find really beneficial in order to be able to segment and organize all of their candidates, both in their ATS and open web. So these can be defined using a number of different filters. And again, it's the same hot, warm, cold temperature indicators to understand what to do with each type of candidate. All talent pools can also have a campaign attached to them. So typically these are a newsletter or nurturing type campaign where they're not meant to be responded to. They're not attached to an open rec. They're just meant to build interest over time. We also have the ability to auto send or auto engage those campaigns. So once a user has a talent pool set up and they have a nurturing or newsletter campaign built out, they can layer those together and candidates will be automatically added to the talent pool and then automatically receive the newsletter that's associated with that talent pool. So the user doesn't have to do any ongoing maintenance in order to foster and build all of the interest within that pool that they've defined. I'm going to hop to campaigns, but are there any questions here on talent pools before I do so?
The one thing I love being a recruiter is timing is everything in recruiting. And the response rate, as technology evolves, response rate is going to be more and more important to recruiters, sourcers, recruiting leaders, and understanding the context and the data behind what those response rate looks like. And I love how the product does that and gives us a big view on who should we target and why should we target those individuals to get a better response rate. One of the questions that are in the chat, it says, are we able to define silver medalists based off interview feedback rating? The context is that not all who interviewed for a role would be considered silver medalist.
Yes. So if there's a field in your ATS that you are using to manage that feedback, absolutely. You can pull that in and create a talent pool defined around that field, whether it's a tag or some other indicator. Yes. Yeah, and Dan makes a really good point. The objective here with talent pools is that we've shown statistically that those candidates that are nurtured or have some previous context with the company or a recruiter prior to the open rec, the actual hiring process, have a much shorter time to hire and a much higher response rate. So that's the objective of this page, is really to foster those metrics once it comes time to fill an open rec.
Just to put in perspective, I utilized this concept when I worked at Amazon, where it was more of a high volume software engineer roles. But what I did was I looked back 2 years ago. Typically, there's a time frame. Maybe your company has a waiting period of when you can re-interview. So I would utilize this thought process of really good candidates. Maybe they almost were hired. But the second go around in an Amazon loop, they're going to be more successful. So I utilize this thought process of targeting individuals that interviewed 2 years ago on that specific date. And then we rolled into a campaign or a messaging stating that to all those candidates saying, hey, I saw your interview feedback. I'd love to re-engage with you. The response rate was higher because I used past data for my future campaign or messaging to those individuals. So it gives you that context, and it's going to be a hot candidate within the system because they've already interviewed, they've already interacted with our stuff, and gives you a better chances of responding. So maybe that rolls into campaigns, Krista.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just showcasing here some of the context that we have. This is a test profile, but you can see that we pull all of that context in from ATS and hireEZ. So it would list all of the historical information, including the stages, but also the notes and other indicators to help give that context. Great. So I'll show campaigns. I know this dashboard has a lot of information, but the quick overview here is that very similar to talent pools, the graph at the top here is a visual representation of all of the different metrics. So right now we are highlighting contacted. There's also open rate, click-through rate, replied, and unsubscribed. And then down below are all of the individual campaigns. Once you expand into them, you can see the individual steps. So this is a 6-email campaign. This is a test campaign in my own account, so the performance is a little bit sad, but typically you would see all of your performance numbers here broken down by those same metrics by email step. And then once you collapse it, you can, of course, just see the roll up as well for how the overall campaign's performing. I will quickly highlight one of the most exciting features within the create flow. So this is the dashboard to create a new campaign. These cards down below are saved templates, so created by either the individual user or the team. The user can also choose to start from scratch or generate with AI. So I'll briefly show this functionality. This is available both within the campaigns view, which is where I'm at now, as well as within the project. So if they're just in the campaigns view, they can just create a general campaign. So right now, all I've entered is software engineer and my own company. I can choose to attach a JD, but I don't have to. So in choosing to just have that title and generate an email, this is going to be a really broadly applied email that I can send to a lot of different types of software engineer roles. If I want to customize it, of course, I can change any of the content here. And all of this is just automatically generated for me. And once I'm happy with this campaign, I can save it and use it on a future talent pool or OpenRec project, or I can go ahead and add recipients now. So that's what I'll showcase for campaigns for the sake of time. I will call out just to note here that we do support what's shown here, which is just a simple email template that's mostly text-based. You do see that poll functionality that I mentioned before and that contact later feature that I mentioned as it's associated with talent pools. We do also have the newsletter nurturing type campaigns that are a little bit glossier. They have that HTML branded card and sections built out that's a little bit more of the marketing focus. And then we do also offer text. And text looks very much the same way that this flow does, except that it would not feature the poll. So very similar UI though.
I love this because, as we all know, that not everybody is on one specific platform, and multiple touch points within that interview process to engaging applicants that you're targeting is the key to success over a long-term nurturing campaign. So it gives you all the resources. You get all the profiles, whether it's LinkedIn, GitHub, social media accounts, contact information. It gives your sourcing and recruiting team the opportunities and avenues without limiting their creativity to reach out to individuals. The best use case that I've ever used within a campaign is be strategic on how you're going to do that. Whether it's texting, whether it's email, whether it's having the hiring manager reach out to the candidates in sync with your campaign. I think there's so many avenues and creativity that can be on top of this campaign, because not everybody's going to respond to email. Not everybody's going to respond to text. Not everybody's going to respond to email. So you need to have opportunities. And the biggest takeaway in campaigns that I think is having your recruiters go into those hiring manager update meetings and let them know the specific data of open rates, click-through rates. Maybe they haven't responded yet, but that allows you to give opportunities of other avenues of how to get in front of them. So it really gives them the ownership and the accountability and the credibility with their hiring managers going in. Any quick questions on this one as we transition? It says, here we go. When you say text, are you saying text messages being sent to the candidate?
Yes, exactly. So I can briefly just show what that looks like, but yes, we do support SMS. So this is how it looks. Again, very similar UI. So in this case, we're building out a text. So quick little snippet of text appropriate length and building out a campaign. So similarly, you can schedule a number of texts to be sent with the intervals that you define.
And
But
what you
yes.
also could do, which came to my mind, is using this text function of maybe people already in the interview process of sending them a good luck. Hey, good luck in your interview. Or, hey, how did the interview go? Shoot me a call. And utilizing that function of engaging already people that are already in the process. So there's a lot of use cases, a lot of creativity to utilize some of these functions. Another one is maybe one more, and then we can pass it off. But is there a way to identify the email addresses that worked versus did not?
Oh, yeah. So we automatically manage that. So we check all of the email addresses that are associated with profiles that were recipients on any of the campaigns that are sent. And we automatically manage the cleanup if we detect that any of those were undeliverable or bounced or were invalid emails. And then if we have other email options, we'll step through and try the other ones that are available. But we manage all of the cleanup on our end to make sure that those are always as up to date as they can be. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Dan, and thanks to everyone else. I will hand off to the next presenter.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Krista. So yeah.
Basically, so I'm a recruiter. Let's just say, I've utilized my ATS, sourcing, but maybe some of the profiles that I specific target, whether it's manufacturing or healthcare, they're typically not on like a LinkedIn. And my primary recruiters go to job boards. Walk us through what Sourcing Hub is and how they can leverage job boards within hireEZ.
Absolutely. So yeah, speaking of Sourcing Hub, let me briefly define what is Sourcing Hub. So Sourcing Hub allows users to search, manage, engage candidates across hireEZ's open web, ATS, and multiple job boards in one single place. And speaking of job boards, now we're partnering with first three job boards, including Monster, CV Library, and Resume Library, so that users can search candidates among all of those three job boards within hireEZ to streamline the workflow. Let me briefly talk a little bit about those job board vendors. Monster, I'm sure most of you have already familiarized with this name. It's one of the oldest and biggest job board platform in the marketplace for over 30 years, with over 100 million active resumes in their database, focusing on manufacturing, healthcare, all different kinds of industry candidates. CV Library, many of you probably heard it first time. It's a job boards headquartered in United Kingdom with over 14 million database resumes, candidate resume database, but specifically in UK region. Resume Library, likewise, is also one of the job boards in the United States with over 15 million active candidates resumes in their database. So now I would like to share with you what's the experience look like if you have integrated any of those job boards. So if you can see my screen here, this is how our existing sourcing experience will look like. Users normally go to the sourcing tab to start a search. Let's say I'm a recruiter. I'm working on a registered nurse role in the New York with oncology nursing specialty. And right now, what users need to do here is to go to this sourcing page, start with hireEZ and input the titles, location, skills, or any other specific requirements related filters. And in the meantime, hireEZ will surface candidates across our open web, like Daniel mentioned, most likely from LinkedIn. And then what users can do is to review the profiles, manage them in different campaigns, engage them, just following the same flow that Krista has just shared. But beyond that, what we offer, what's new is besides hireEZ, we also support multiple options like Monster, Resume Library, and CV Library. So for the same type of the role, if we feel like we don't get enough sufficient candidates from this open wide, and I already consume most of my candidates in my pool, we can try to go to other job boards and see if we can find more candidates. Now I'm going to switch to Monster. And as you can see, besides some of the filters that hireEZ already supported, we also have multiple new job board specific filters supported by Monster, including the resume update date, how active the candidates within, and some different work authorization related filters that are all provided by the candidates. So for this example, on the right screen, you will see a list of 74 candidates that meet the requirement that we pull from Monster. And let's say there's a few candidates and then besides the candidate name, location, you can see some basic information, additional information about their relocation preference, authorization status, and how often they update the resume. If you click into those profiles, you can also see more detailed information about this candidate, including their full experience and full list of skills. Let's say if you think this candidate might be a potential fit and you want to engage with them either through the email or text messages, all you need to do is to click unlock. Once you click unlock, this will consume one credit from Monster's platform. So you're not costing any extra from hireEZ, but it will all cost you whatever you would cost if you use this function in Monster. And then, if this candidate is good fit, you can mark them as good fit or give them a call and follow exactly the same flow that you have within hireEZ capabilities, like managing them in the pipeline, add them to talent pool, and engage with them through email campaigns. And the same experience also applies to other job boards available here, including Resume Library, CV Library, and we also are in active conversation with a lot of big market like players in the marketplace. So if you have some other job boards you're using, you can always request it to us. And we're working on enriching the list to make it more job boards possible.
For the audience, maybe throw in the chat room of what job boards is you or your team utilizing right now, and what percentage of candidates are coming through those job boards versus, outbound sourcing or ATS. I'd love to get a poll going within the chat of what are you using and where are the applicants coming from percentage wise.
Yeah. Thank you. And
we do have a couple questions. So if you do not have a Monster account, are you still able to unlock the Monster candidates?
Yes. So one important prerequisite of using this feature is you will need to have an active Monster account license in order to use this function to unlock the account. But if you don't have a Monster account, do not worry. You can still try the searches. And if you want to unlock the profiles and get those detailed information, you can go to this partnership page where we had a discount with Monster, so you can get 1 month for free with Monster and with a couple hundreds of the free resume views.
One of them said, majority of the list is LinkedIn Recruiter posting jobs there. Handshake got brought up with college grads. Indeed, Practice Match, Practice Link, Doc Cafe, or a couple other ones.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the list. To us.
Indeed, lots of entry level come through LinkedIn, Handshake, etc. For sure. Awesome. Any other questions for Beiji? Awesome. Awesome. Again, we want to just give you one more avenue to reach out candidates that maybe are not on other social platforms or anything like that. So this gives you another avenue that your recruiters and sourcers can take to get in contact, excuse me, with those candidates that you guys desire. This is really helpful within the manufacturing field, the healthcare field, those type of candidates that maybe are not on a specific, like a LinkedIn or something like that. So it gives you that extra avenue for your recruiters and sourcers. Well, fantastic. Looks like Sanjay, you are next.
Yes. Okay, can you please enable my video?
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Great. Okay, so I'm going to talk about applicant match. This is a new feature that we have recently launched. But before we get into the details, let me talk about a scenario here. As a recruiter, when we are hiring for any specific role, we need to do multiple things. For example, finding the right prospect for the requirement. And also when the job is posted, there are a lot of applicants that come along our way. Now, all those applicants are housed in ATS, and we are using a different tool, let's say hireEZ, for sourcing those candidates. So as a recruiter, you need to juggle multiple tools, go through multiple kind of informations to evaluate who is the right candidate fit for the requirement. Let's talk about reviewing those applicants. So there could be many applicants apply for the job, but they may or may not be the right for the role that you are looking for. So as a recruiter, you need to go through all of them manually, every single profile, and then make a call. So this is definitely a very time consuming, and most importantly, it's completely disjoint from the other part of sourcing that you are doing to finding the right candidate that you are reaching out. This is where we are bringing those two together under one roof. Our key goal is to have one single platform so that you do not have to do that juggle, go through multiple platforms and do those activities. And we bring all those information under one roof inside project. So when you go inside a project, as you can see here, we are pulling in the applicants from your ATS. So for this, the ATS needs to be integrated, and all the applicants that comes in your ATS automatically will show up in your projects. This is where we are making those segmentation very clear between our applicants and prospects, so that we can look into those talent pools completely separately. So for applicants, we are looking at making sure that we are looking at those applicants at a very unbiased manner, and we are using a lot of AI or intelligence to help you to understand the relevance of those applicants. So when I clicked on any of the profile, this is where we bring in the job, the resume that the applicant shared. So you will be able to immediately see the resume over here. We are not making any kind of enrichment of the information the applicants are providing, but we are using a layer of intelligence to infer what is the relevance of this candidate against the job that they have applied. So our system analyzes the job description and the candidate resume, parts them into various criteria to produce those matching results. And the matching results are completely depend on, like, for example, here we have 4 matching results. One is at a good match, partial match, not a match, and best match. So this match level is defined by the distance between the applicant's resume and the job description. So the system is making that analysis and help you with an inference and provide a lot of information to support that inference, so that you can quickly glance through the details, identify what is the most important criteria that you're looking for the candidate, and can make faster decisions. In terms of activity, here you can also see the activity of this candidate. So this is a scenario if this candidate was involved or applied in the past but was not selected based on if there is not a culture fit or lack of necessary skills that you're looking for, but all the conversation will be shown over here. This will also help you to understand that that this candidate is not being recommended or for the specific similar roles. In terms of the workflow, when you review this candidate, you have two different ways. Like you can move forward with this candidate or you can decline this reason. When you click on move forward, these are the ATS stages that are synced, and you can automatically select what stage you want to sync this candidate and move forward. This candidate will automatically be available in your ATS. If this candidate doesn't meet your requirement, you can also define the decline reason, and these are the reasons that you can select, and these are the reasons that are coming from your ATS, so that you do not have to go to ATS and do similar activity, and everything what you do here is automatically synced with your ATS.
I think as a recruiter, applicant match is a huge time saver in the world in 2024 right now of job seekers. My understanding is there's a ton of applicants per job that are going, and companies have to post and then unpost and post and unpost to get through those resumes and those applicants. We don't want to get the decision away from you, but we want to give you a head start on the qualifications based on the job description to the most qualified candidates coming through on a daily basis. The second thing that this is a real use case for your and your recruiting team is sometimes presenting candidates to the hiring manager. It's not just about what they can do, but why are they a good fit? And it gives you a really good glimpse and a snapshot of the specific skills of why the person's going to be a fit for that hiring manager. And it gives the recruiters and the sourcers the data and the confidence to present candidates to leadership. It just gives you a head start on that, which is really, really cool.
Cool. Next, I would want to demonstrate the ideal persona. So this is something which is created from the job description. So this is where we provide you the control and the transparency based on which we are making this recommendation. We aim to ensure that our process is unbiased, accurate, and up-to-date. And this section will allow you to adjust the requirement to define the matching results. We also this is very helpful when there are cross-team collaboration, which is happening where multiple recruiters are working together, or if the job description is updated in ATS. This version control will help you to identify where are those changes that happened, and if there is any unconscious changes happened, then you can identify the reason behind it and make those corrections. These things are very, very helpful so that it will always keep you in control of how you are defining those metrics to infer those results for each of those applicants.
This will help also within the cleared space group. You know, if you're in government contract and they have to have a specific clearance, you can utilize this in weeding out the candidates that don't have a clearance at all and get you in front of the candidates that have applied, that have the specific criteria that you're looking for. Also, in healthcare, if you're a nurse or a doctor that licensed in a specific state or have a specific certification that's a must-have for the role, you can put this in there, and then it will help you review the candidates that have those specific criteria that you're looking for quickly to present to the hiring managers, and weed out the individuals that are maybe not licensed or have a certification or a clearance, and you can interact with those candidates the quickest. There is a question, Sanjay. I'll wait till the end after you're done as well.
Yeah, I think
just want to give you
that's all from the
okay.
applicant match site. Yeah.
Perfect. So we talked about campaign. Maybe we should hold Armin. I'll wait for your question at the very end, and we can ask Krista about the difference between projects and campaigns. So I'll wait for that one. I see your question in the chat, and I'll do that right at the end.
Cool. I think the next thing that I want to demonstrate is the full funnel reporting. So think about, for a TA leader, leading a strategic recruitment team is highly important under the current circumstances. The focus is on the talent acquisition team and all the members in the organization that seeks transparency regarding the whole process. So in order to be strategic, you as a leader, you need to understand what's happening, and you need to have a clear access or identify the gaps, so that you can provide proper guidance at the right time and to the right audience. So full funnel report is actually solving for that. This is designed to provide a new lens to look at the reporting for tier leaders or recruiting operational experts or whoever cares about team's effectiveness and operational excellence. The key focus is to make sure that as a leader, you can easily identify who, where, and when someone or some job in the whole process needs your attention and help. So it takes the data beyond hireEZ and presents a full funnel end-to-end workflow from hireEZ all the way to your ATS to hires. So you'll get the complete end-to-end picture under this full funnel reporting. First, let me take you through the overall structure of this full funnel reporting. It integrates with your ATS, and it condenses all the recruiting activities and data into 3 key sections: hiring team performance, hiring manager satisfaction, and hiring funnel. The first two represents shares a very similar look and feel of a pre-made report, and the third one, hiring funnel, this actually gives you more flexibility to look at the end-to-end hiring funnel, and you can completely use a lot of filters to look at the data the way that you want to. I'll come back to this later, but let me start with the hiring team performance. So the first section is we are highlighting do we have enough candidate for consideration? So this is very important for all of us to think at the top of the funnel while we are looking at those candidates. And the graph that we have on the right, it shows the recruiter who has got requisition but has screened lower candidates. And when I click on view more, we'll be able to see the breakdown of each of those recruiters who screened lower candidates and for which requisition. And this, for example, let's take Jennifer as an example. For supervisor, so this is the requisition. She reviewed 19 candidates against the benchmark of 20. And this benchmark is actually helping us to identify if they are reviewing the right candidate or not. So benchmark is the data that we get from your ATS. It involves a retrospective analysis of similar jobs within the same department to determine the number of candidates that requires at the screening stage to make that successful hire. So we bring in that data, plus we use industry data to drive that number. And that will really help us to make sure that all the recruiters are doing the right number of candidate screening to make sure that they do a hire at the right time. This can also be customized based on different ATS needs and also your company's preferences. So this can be customized. Okay. Coming back to the main view, I won't be going through all the reports because they have they share a very similar kind of workflow. So you'll get the overall idea. For example, here we are showcasing the time to fill, screen to interview, and offer acceptance rate, and if they are not meeting the diversity threshold. The last section is all about sources and the recruiter's performance. One thing I would like to highlight here, that we are using a qualitative metrics instead of quantitative one. We evaluate the total number of hires and the candidates delivered from different recruiting sources to identify which source is most effective. Going back to the hiring manager satisfaction, as I said, very similar look and feel and the structure. But one thing what I would like to highlight here is that we are showcasing the departments instead of recruiters over here. So this will help you to compare the different stakeholders such as engineering, product success, finances, and identify the gaps and determine which team needs more focus. Lastly, the hiring funnel. This is the view, as I shared, is designed for your flexibility, as you could have different ways to look at the funnel from applicants created in ATS all the way to the hires. You have the flexibility to change the stage mapping. Again, this is a part of the integration, and the number of the stages is completely dependent on the ATS stages that you have, and it will start reflecting the stages of ATS over here as well. Below, there is a conversion table, and this is where, in this example, you are viewing the sources and the corresponding the requisitions, and you can see the performance of it. Using the filter, this is what I talked about. You can completely flip the view of this table by changing this filter. For example, I select requisition, followed by sources, and as you can see, the whole table pivot to that direction. It starts with that requisition, and you can see what are the sources and what is the permission of it. So that's all from the full funnel reporting side. So this, again, reiterating the core value that we really want to focus here is that as a TA leader, you will get to in hireEZ to see the end-to-end picture of how your team is performing, where the team needs help, so that you can help and guide the team in a much more effective way and completely be in control.
I think you hit it when you say being in control. This gives you the data as a leader to identify the gaps, identify where the recruiters and sourcers need help with, but also a big part of recruiting and TA leadership is understanding to show the data to the business and paint that picture of what actually is really happening. Storytelling with data separates good to great leaders within this space, and this full funnel reporting gives you a leg up to share the story of what actually is happening and getting as granular as possible. And we've all had this situation where the business is a really tough business to work with, but we need to show the reasons why and push back as TA leaders with the specific data to create change. And this is a great way to do so. So thank you so much, Sanjay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any last questions for Sanjay on full funnel reporting before we go to our last section? Here's a question for you, Sanjay. Is there a reporting function that will allow you to see how long a candidate spends in each stage, screen, interview, background check, etc.?
At this point of time, we do not have the time measurements to show it in the reports, but definitely we'll take it into consideration and we'll evaluate that.
Any other questions for Sanjay? Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We will switch over to Lisa.
Okay, so I will be introducing our Chrome extension. Let me quickly screen here. So as you can see, our Chrome extension is more like a plugin app that works in your Google Chrome browser. And you can always download this from this Google App Store. And as long as you are hireEZ customer, you will be able to download and install this one. And I see lots of comments saying that the recruiters will be using linking and linking recruiter on their daily basis. This is where we want to have our extension. So as you can see, our extension will be it will be a system tool that can help you find and engage with the qualified candidates anywhere you want. And as you can see from here, let's start from linking. So if you are looking for a candidate, let's see, I want to search my profile here, and you will have our extension is open. And when you click into this candidate's profile, our extension will be loading this candidate's profile for you, and we can do a little introduction from the top bottom. As you can see on the top of the candidate's extension profile, we will be listing out the name and the current job position and the company of this candidate, and also all the contact information in our system. We will support this. We will display this information here, and this item, this line we will show the team member activities between your hireEZ team, and if you have the last activity you take in your team, if your team member already contact them or view this candidates before, this information will be listed here. So the recruiters may not want to engage with the candidates again if the one of the other team members already engaged with her. So as you can see, the next line is the related projects. This is the place where we display all the relevant hireEZ project this profile already involved in. As you can see, we will display the creation time, updated time, and also their stage and status of this project. And the next section will be showing if this candidate is also a past applicant in your ATS, we will also show relevant ATS job in this section. But for this profile, she does not exist in any ATS in our system. So the next section is engagement. In this area, we will be display all the hireEZ engagement history in here. As you can see, this will be all the campaigns that already sent to this candidate. You will be able to see the status here. And if you want to quickly stop one of the unfinished campaigns, you can just click onto this button here. We will give you the cancel this campaign function, and after you cancel this, you will also be able to restart this campaign as well. And the next area is about the notes and tags you and your team made for this candidate, and anything you want to leave a note. And the next section is the profile, and this is basically the hireEZ profile we have for this candidate. And from here, you can do a cross check to see if the linking profile and the hireEZ profile is matched and the most update. And another thing is our Chrome extension also work the same way on our linking recruiter. As we can see from here, if we want to review this candidate's profile in our linking recruiter, our extension will also be able to pop over and see the exactly same information here. And another cool feature I want to introduce is this email with AI. We want to give you another quick access to generate your email content with our AI capability. As you can see, by clicking on this one, we will generate a general outreach information for outreach content for you. And you can see all this information is generated based on this candidate's profile information. And you can just click copy and paste in your linking recruiter. And once you send this email, our extension will also help you track the email activities. As you can see, all the tracked email activity will be listed in this email tab as well. So if, as you can, this is a email sent from this linking recruiter account to this profile, everything is listed under here. And if the candidate replies to this email, the information will also be able to display here. Okay. And at the bottom of the Chrome extension, we will also showing some similar candidates that we found in our system according to this profile. They will be all listed here. You can still go through the details of the similar profiles. And if you see this is also a profile that may work for your, that is a qualified candidate for your job, you can also save this project to any hireEZ project. Let's see, we're gonna save to this one for a quick demo. Okay, so after we save this profile to our project, we can click on this link and this will give us quick access to our web app. And also from here, you will be list all the good fit candidates. And another cool feature I want to show you is once we were doing some searching for this specific job, most likely, oh, the system is quite slow. Okay. So most likely when we are finding some pre-qualified candidates, we want to open our Chrome extension to see, we want to open the linking page to cross-check if the profiles are matched. So you can click on the linking small icon here on any of the candidate card, and we will open to the linking page. In the meanwhile, we will bring the pipeline into our Chrome extension. As you can see, Rachel is the top one, and Katrina is the second one. It's all following the search result list on your web app. So if you want to take a look at the detailed hireEZ profile, you can just click into this. And once you, after review the whole profile, you can also click on the next to keep, we will help you refresh the linking page. So you can involve in your screening process without leaving hireEZ, leaving extension, or switching between hireEZ web app and linking page. And another cool feature I want to show you is our Chrome extension that can also work on multiple ATSs. But I will have Greenhouse as an example. For example, when this works for all the ATS that we support, it works the same way. So once you are in your ATS and you want to review your applicants, recruiters may sometimes will click into their job page, ATS job detail page, and from here, our extension will be pop over. So we will start to find a pre-qualified candidates for you. As you can see, once you open our Chrome extension, we will be showing some matched candidates for you to review. As you can see, there were two types on this list. The first one is past applicants. So if you already enabled rediscovery solution on hireEZ, so this will be your past applicants that we found from your ATS. And if you're switching into this new prospects, this will be a list of qualified candidates that we recommended for you from our hireEZ Open Web. And at the bottom of this list, if you want to review more of the candidates, you can also click on this one. We will take you to hireEZ project to show more qualified candidates. And another cool feature that we have is also, let's back to our linking page. We can also directly engage with these candidates using hireEZ campaigns. As you can see, if there is a email that we could find for this candidate, you can just click on this candidate's email and the extension will expand to a larger panel. From here, you will be able to select any of your pre-set up in a hireEZ campaign and you can send them through from here. It's more convenience for recruiters to engage with the qualified candidates. Yep, that's pretty much the information I want to show for our Chrome extension. And another news that I want to say is I also noticed that besides linking and linking recruiter, some of the guests also mentioned that you will be working on Indeed for some specific jobs. So our Chrome extension is going to support Indeed use cases, and this feature will be launching early next month. Yep.
There's a couple questions. It says, can we turn off the function InMail with AI and just the InMail only and save some templates?
Let me turn off the.
So essentially, instead of just utilizing the AI to do their sequences and their messaging, can they just create templates within the platform to utilize for future? Like save templates and just continue to use that template.
I see. This is a great idea, but we currently do not support this, but we can definitely add this into our roadmap.
And the last question is, will you need LinkedIn Recruiter access to be able to use the hireEZ Chrome extension? Or can you utilize that specifically if you have hireEZ and just utilize it on a LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, you will need to have a LinkedIn account or a LinkedIn Recruiter account.
Yep. So can they, if they don't have LinkedIn Recruiter, can they still utilize the Chrome extension through strictly LinkedIn?
Yes, yes, of course.
And that's a one, we get that question all the time of, hey, I'm afraid of losing my LinkedIn Recruiter seat because I don't have, I have to have LinkedIn Recruiter, and trying to justify taking away LinkedIn Recruiter is hard to do. Utilizing the hireEZ functionality on top of like a LinkedIn, they gave you that personal LinkedIn profile. So, one workaround that I utilized was, obviously you have all the different options to reach out to them: email, phone, Twitter, social media, anything that we give you. We give you that LinkedIn profile, and instead of giving an email because maybe you don't have LinkedIn Recruiter, you can send them a connection request and say, hey, I just shot you an email, and try to connect with them, because they're automatically going to get that, connection request. So that's one way to overcome if you don't have LinkedIn Recruiter seat, you have hireEZ. You kind of have both in one scenario. If you do have LinkedIn Recruiter, you can also obviously utilize the functionalities that we just did. So any questions? I know we're a couple minutes over, but any questions specifically on our Chrome extension? And then if not, what I'll do is I'll have all the presenters come back on screen. And then if you have any questions that really came to mind when you were reviewing the webinar, this whole webinar, feel free to throw that in the chat and we can answer those. All right, I will go back to Armin's question. It said, how are projects different from campaigns? Also, are all candidates sourced in hireEZ generated from our ATS, or does this platform have their own candidates like a Career Builder or an Indeed?
Yeah, I can tackle that one. So to answer the second question first, we do have our own data set. So hireEZ, our bread and butter, our history as a platform was for sourcing. So we have over 900 million candidates when a user steps into the platform before they even integrate their own ATS. So we combine both the ATS and our own data set to help support every user in what they're searching for every open rec. Then regarding your first question, the first part, projects versus campaigns. So these are layered together. So a project is the container or the space, the structure in which a user can source or search within their ATS for a group of candidates that could be a fit for a specific role. Talent pools is similar, except that it's tied to more of a nurturing or evergreen activity, not a specific role. But both of these are concepts of just a structured container of candidates who are representing a certain segment, maybe a set of filters that may or may not be tied to an open rec. And then the project has a number of stages that would reflect the user's workflow. So for example, we call good fit. So a set of candidates that meet the criteria, over to contacted, replied, scheduled for an interview, interviewed, etc. And those stages can be customized. So that's a project. It's the structured container. And then a campaign is attached to a project. So the campaign is the sequence of emails that is sent to the candidates that are within the project. So they do work together, but they're different vehicles, different structures.
Awesome. One question from Geo Cobb. It says, what does hireEZ do with the information that sourcers import from other sources into hireEZ? Does it look for the name, email, phone, city, state, and connect it to the information already in the hireEZ system?
Yes, I can tackle this one again. So we do look for those unique identifiers, but one caveat here is that we will offer enrichment. So if we have updates on that profile that we've been able to pull in from our data set, we will offer those updates to our users for every profile that we find. We will not, however, do the inverse. So the enrichment only works from us offering more information to the profile that the user brings in, but we don't retain any of the profile information from the ATS that we have not already sourced from other places.
Another question that came through is, what is the easiest way to remove a candidate from an email sequence once emails have started?
So it depends. If the candidate replies, the default behavior is that they're automatically removed from the campaign. So if they're receiving emails and they reply to one, they wouldn't receive the additional follow-up emails just by default. That's the desired behavior. A user can also go in and manually remove anyone from a campaign that they'd like. If they maybe hear from a colleague that they're also in an interview process with another project, we would present that during the project flow. We actually do highlight if that candidate's somewhere else, but maybe there's some other context there, some reason that they just want to remove them from the campaign. They can also do so manually.
One of the other questions, it says, I'm curious if if we can customize which requirements have the most weight for the AI match functionality.
So this is a longer answer that's not easy to simplify because there are so many rules that go into it. So there are a lot of different variables that we use, and we do showcase that. So the user is able to go in and see all of the different variables that we've identified. They can remove any that they disagree with and also add any that they want to. But in terms of the weighting, it's really around those that we've identified drive the most. So of course, things like titles and skills, with us adding a little bit of discernment around mandatory skill versus nice to have. But there's really a very complex web of how we weight all of those different variables.
Awesome. We're about 10 minutes over, so what we can do is we can wrap up. I just want to say thank you so much for everybody that attendance today, learn more about our product. I put in the chat a link, so if you want more time with us, feel free to book some more time to dive in deep a little more specifically on any specific functionalities that you're really focusing in on. I love to connect with individuals as well. I love talking shop. I'm a recruiter by trade, so if you have questions, concerns, anything like that from a recruiting leader mindset, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to walk you through that product as well. But again, this will be uploaded to our YouTube page for future reference. If you have any questions, concerns, you want to share that with your team, as well as, like I said, I threw that link in the chat. Feel free to book some time with us. Again, I want to thank you so much for the presenters giving your time and effort into presenting this. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on future webinars and opportunities within hireEZ.